A nation that allows rich and powerful men to traffic and abuse young girls without consequence is a nation that has lost its moral and spiritual core. Americans are asking a very simple question. How is it possible that in the richest, most powerful country in the world, there are corrupt special interest forces, both foreign or domestic, that have a stranglehold on our government and are preventing the release of the full Epstein files?
Destroyed drives up their profit margins. No longer. We are investigating and prosecuting their crimes more aggressively than ever, and Joint Task Force Alpha is the tip of the spear. We have been working on that with Secretary Kristi Noem, Homeland Security, and I cannot say enough good things about Secretary Noem. I was with her in Louisiana yesterday, and she is fighting to keep our country safe every single day. Just this week, Joint Task Force Alpha took 4 major enforcement actions. Right here in Tampa, we unsealed the indictment charging 12 defendants operating right here in Tampa, a massive illegal smuggling ring. The defendants engaged in a conspiracy to bring illegal aliens from Cuba to the U.S. for profit. They coached their clients, including children, who came to airports alone, came to our country alone, were put on planes for connecting flights, lied to Border Patrol agents due to coaching and law enforcement. They charged up to $40,000 per victim. They used Zelle to transfer over $7 million over the course of this scheme, and I believe had profits, cash of over $18 million.
The Biden administration lost track of all those children is because they were emphasizing speed over security. And there were political reasons for that. They wanted to get the kids out of U.S. custody, so they were handing them off to anybody. They didn't require background checks. They didn't require identification even. I've watched horror stories of the same person picking up child after child after child, using different names and different addresses. One of the addresses was a strip club. One of the addresses was a parking lot. One of the addresses was an empty lot that was filled with shipping containers. And this character was getting all these kids. One person got 42 kids to one address. What we're doing now is DNA testing on every sponsor. We're doing personal identification. We're doing background checks, and we're doing income verification.
Thank you, Mr.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? The one and only James Williams, Dog Waters, and I'm back. And I'm gonna start with this. The theme for the rest of this month that I'm going to present to you, and this is going to be the theme for the rest of the month, is based on scripture and what we see going on in the news. And it's Proverbs 26:2. As the bird that wandering, as the swallow by flying, so the curse causeless shall not come. Other versions say a curse without a cause shall not stand. There are sections of the United States of America that have fallen under curses based upon the actions of people. If you've been following me, then we talked about the different generations, and I think the graphic explanation is better so you can see it. We talked about the crooked and perverse generation, the adulterous generation, the forgetful generation. Excuse me, I had some coffee, so I'm a little bit belchy. And when we come over here, there are judgments for each and every one of these generations. The faithfulest generation, the perverse and crooked generation, we covered this, the adulterous generation, the stubborn and rebellious generation, and the forgetful generation. And we explained that the forgetful generation is the starting point, and then each generation goes downhill. So this is the beginning. Let me make this the way you can see it. So it starts off with having a forgetful generation, then they go to being stubborn, then they go to being adulterous, then they go to being perverse, then they're going to be to being faithfulness, right? And We define generations already. It should be here somewhere. This is what we define generations as. And I need to make sure, let me move myself down a little bit. We define generations biblically, so you'll know what I'm talking about. So generations, family of descendants, or a group of people living at the same time, right? So in the Bible, it talks about the generations of Adam. And then also there's groups of generations, according to Matthew 24, 34. All right. With that being laid out and that being understood, when you look at the news from this angle and this lens, everything that's happening is what's going to make sense, is how you make sense of the news. All right. Let's jump into some news and look at it from this perspective. Let's start with the faithless generations that believe there is no God. These people tend to believe that they are God. They are making headlines today as Donald Trump had dinner with the AI people. And there was a lot of people at dinner with Donald Trump last night. But the two people that were highlighted were Mark Zuckerberg and Bill Gates. Although Tim Cook and a whole bunch of other people were there, we know that that's the generation of people who are faithless. They don't believe in God. They think they are gods. And it's kind of poignant that we start there with them. The punishment for them is they shall be judged like gods, and they shall fall like one of the princes. So when you look around, you've already seen many of these people falling. The issue is the news cycle happens so fast and it's so dynamic, and there's so much clutter in the news that if you're not led by the Spirit of God, you won't see God kicking their butt, basically, because it's event after event after event after event after event after event. So you won't see it. For example, Epstein came back into the news yesterday, which clouded people's judgments. I remember when I first started listening to, I'm looking at this guy's face. What is his name? The guy that used to do the original AI reports. Come on. What is this guy's name? Hold on. Got it. I remember when I first started listening to Cliff High, who's a heavy Gnostic, by the way. But Cliff High ran a program that was the precursor to AI. If you don't understand that, that's what he was talking about, the precursor to artificial intelligence that went out and scrapped the internet and pulled in talking points. And he did with a computer what we do daily. And he would come up with these projections based upon what the computers were pulling. And his concept and idea was that all human beings are psychic, which is true. And that ability for all human beings to be psychic is what allowed him to get the information. I'm not going to go into the depths of how all human beings are psychic, but I will just say this. Every human being is made in the image of God. So you got a bunch of little gods running around. Some of them are aware of the fact that they're a little god. Oh my Lord, I just had a sneeze attack. Some of them are aware of the fact that they're little gods. Others aren't. But we all fall under one rule and system and laws, which is the laws of the God of the Bible. Whether you believe in him or not, whether you acknowledge him or not, you're still in his system. All right. And if you understand the rules of his system, then you'll understand how to navigate this world. But we have these people who believe they are gods, and they act as such, and they exercise their dominion over this earth. God said, let them have dominion, man and woman. Let's make man and woman our image and let them have dominion. To be clear with you, if you are not a Christian and my videos really ain't for you, you're going to completely disagree with everything that I have to say, and I'm fine with that. I've explained to you that if you watch this, that means you're under a different kingdom, and your kingdom functions under different rules. But even your kingdom is subjected to the rules of the Most High God, right? But, and I don't say Most High like this. There's a religion of people who are like, oh, I'm a prophet of the Most High. If you call me talking about you're a prophet of the Most High, I'm hanging up on you. Because every time I ever saw anybody introduce themselves like that, they were a prophetess of Baal or Jezebel, which we see that in the news as well. They're making themselves known ridiculously. But let's take a listen to what the faithless generation of people are saying to you about you. Okay, that's what we're looking at right now.
But once you can probabilistically and through modeling be able to much better see what's going to happen. Take, for example, the fact that we already can start to see signs of Alzheimer's many, many decades potentially before a person starts to manifest the condition. Do they want to know? And if they don't want to know, should other people have the ability to know? Should an insurance company be able to make choices about whether to cover them? Should an employer have access to that information to make decisions about whether or not they are somebody that they ought to employ? But once you can probabilistically and through modeling be able.
And what she's saying is they have the ability to see into the human genome and repair the human genome and perform their own miracles. Now, if you notice, because they are a faithless generation, someone who was of faith, who had advanced technology, they will find a way to help humanity with this technology with no strings attached, right? However, for them, it's monetized. It's, okay, well, probability, you'll be able to find out if someone has the genes that are predisposed to the genes to have Alzheimer's or to have diabetes or to have cancer. And would you want to know it or not? And would insurance actuary companies want access to this data? So a faithless generation of people in positions of power will make decisions that are selfish because they think they're gods. And everything is going to be for their benefit. And when we talk about their, it's going to be for the benefit of corporations, which are their entities, them and their entities. Let's move on. We'll see some more of this. And I want to touch on Donald Trump right now at the White House with these people. Now, I'm going to say this. Many people will be caught aback by the fact that Donald Trump invited Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, and I want you to see there's many people at this table to the White House to hold a discussion. I'm not caught aback by it at all. In fact, it's what should be done. Well, man, what you talking about? Bill Gates tried to kill everybody. Yes. A smart man knows this. And this is where we differentiate between boys and girls and men and women. You bring that person who's your enemy into your environment and you listen to what they have to say. And you have your advisors and your friends and your closest people who have knowledge of what's going on around you when they come in to say what they're going to say. And you let them talk. And you let them speak. And you let the world hear what they have to say. This is the thing that I will say, this is where people who support Donald Trump and people who call themselves MAGA, they lose it. I mean, you lose the script when it's, oh, you don't engage the wicked person. If I engage a wicked man in a conversation, doesn't make me wicked. Now, it's a cause for concern to watch and see what decisions come out of it. But I'm not concerned about him having a sit down in a conversation. What concerns me is what comes out of this meeting. That's what your concern should be. The meeting itself, the sit down itself, is something that you must do. I remember there was a time period where, I was dealing with a whole bunch of people that were talking crazy about me, and I offered them all to have a sit down. Hey, man, come and have a conversation with me. Because I wanted to know what they wanted. And I remember people saying, well, man, how could you have a conversation with him? And my theme was, I'll talk to anybody. Now, you may not like what I have to say, but I'll listen to what you have to say. And the reason why you do that is because you need to hear what your enemy's saying for yourself. Not through a third party, not through another person, not through this. I need to hear what you have to say. So the unique opportunity that's been presented right now is that Donald's going to get a chance to hear what they have to say. Now, there's rumors that Bill Gates has been in and out of the White House multiple times. I seriously doubt that. There's like, oh, they've had these private meetings. I seriously doubt that. I know there was one meeting prior before this down in Mar-a-Lago. I know that this dinner was set up after Robert Kennedy Jr. just went ham yesterday. And I anticipate that everyone at this table and Bill Gates' interest at this table is to ensure that his vaccine agenda moves forward. And he has a serious problem with Robert Kennedy Jr. literally decimating his current move of destruction on this earth. And so when you sit back and watch, you want to look at things from a higher level as opposed to emotional level. I know that Laura Loomer is going crazy right now. And quite frankly, now is the time for somebody to put some outside pressure and make noise about Bill Gates. But we don't know what was said in this meeting. All we know is the sound bites that we got. And here's one of those sound bites.
Your leadership there as well.
Thank you. Really, and a really amazing job you've done.
Thank you.
Bill, would you like to say a few words?
Sure.
Well, I'm in the second phase of my career, giving away all the wonderful money that Satya's good work has helped multiply a lot. But I think the thing that ties my first career that I still spend some time on because AI is so phenomenal, and my second career is innovation, innovating in health in areas like vaccines or gene editing, and the President and I are talking about taking American innovation to the next level to cure and even eradicate some of these diseases. He mentioned polio, which is one that we're close. We don't need new science on that one. For some like HIV and sickle cell, we do need new science, but the U.S. Has the seeds that in the same way that Warp Speed took those seeds and put them together, I think something fantastic can be done. AI for our foundation is that we want a doctor for everyone in Africa through AI. We want farmers to have incredible advice and, kids to have a chance to learn. So the work.
Have you not guys noticed the body language of Melania this whole time? I'm gonna let him finish talking, and we're going to just play it without the audio. And Melania's body language is like this mother. You know what I'm saying? You don't see it on her face. She's keeping this hard, rigid face where she's not trying to give an expression. But if you look at her shoulders, she's tense. She's not relaxed. It's like she knows she's sitting next to Lucifer. Like she can feel the evil coming off of him. Look at her. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this.
Work being done by the people at this table is changing the world. It's coming fast, so it's great. We all get together and talk about how the U.S. can lead in this key area and apply it even to the poorest outside the U.S. as well as to our great citizens. So thank you for incredible leadership, including getting this group together.
Thank you, Bill.
What I find interesting is Bill is his body language is he's shrunken himself down. And then these are the things that we have to look at. You can't be emotional about it. When you find yourself sitting at a table with a person and they shrink in like this, like see how he's shrunken, lean forward the whole time, that lets you know that that's a whipped dog. That's not a confident man. That's not a man who's confident that he's going to get his way. That's a man who knows he's in the power in front of someone in power that exercises power, and he needs to be very careful. For example, you don't believe me? Look at the president's wife. I'm the wife of the president. I'm confident. I don't like you. Clearly, I don't like you, but I'm confident because I'm sitting next to the president. And I want to hear what else Bill Gates had to say because there's other clips. It looks as if that was all that they captured of Bill Gates talking about. But here's Sam Altman, and keep it in mind, these are a part of a faithless generation of people. And you could say it's multiple generations of faithless people at this table who don't really believe in God. We know Sam Altman is on some other stuff for real. And let's take a listen to what Sam Altman had to say.
Sam, you're a big leader of a very new industry at a very young age. You're a young guy. Do you want to tell us about what you're doing? You told me things before that are absolutely unbelievable. So what are you doing?
First of all, to echo the comments of Tim and others, thank you so much for getting us all together, and thank you for being such a pro-business, pro-innovation president. It's a very refreshing change. We're very excited to see what you're doing to make all of our companies and our entire country so successful. The investment that's happening here, the ability to get the power in the industry back in the United States, I think this will set us up for a long period of great success leading the world, and I don't think that would be happening now without your leadership. We're very grateful to be able to build our company here, to build data centers here, to build the entire AI industry and lead the world in the United States. Echoing many other people's comments, I think this will transform the world in a profound way, and I think it really will be to the United States' advantage to be able to lead the world this way. The event that the First Lady hosted today about education was really wonderful, and watching what AI is doing even today for education and so many other industries is really great. So thank you so much for enabling this. We will invest a ton in the United States, and we will do our best to make sure that we continue to lead here.
That's right. Thank you. Hundreds of billions of dollars, and it's going to be well worth it. Then you have an unlimited market, right?
It seems like it.
The danger of Donald Trump, and I'll just be honest with you, when I see this is his greatest asset is his greatest weakness. And many times that's every man's strength is their weakness. Most people, there's a philosophy in business that when you have something that you're strong at, that you maintain that but repair and fix your weaknesses. And when you, how can I say this? When you work in opposition research, your job is to identify strengths and weaknesses of people. And many people, their strength is so strong that it outweighs their weaknesses in every way, shape, or form. So some people are so strong in whatever their strength is, it makes their weaknesses strong because they've leaned into their strength so much. So in the case of Donald Trump, his deal-making prowess is so strong that anything that you perceive as a weakness of his is bolstered by his deal-making ability. So inherently, a lot of the things that he does covers those weaknesses because of that deal-making strength. And in the process of using his strength, every other thing is vetted out. But at the same time, when you deal with someone who's of equal and higher intelligence, then they attack that strength and they bombard the strength. So in this case, a man who's a deal maker who wants to make a deal, you don't fight him, you come in and make deals. And then you structure your deals to where there's little bitty caveats in a deal across a group of people where they get everything they want, but it's not all for one person. That would be my fear and concern with Donald Trump sitting at the table with these people, but I would think that it's unbased at this point because we don't know what came out of this. So what I will say as it pertains to Donald Trump meeting with them, we can anticipate there being some heavy pushback on his meeting. I would like to see people be very vocal about Bill Gates, which I believe is going on. But I want to see people be even more vocal on Bill Gates because it's a unique opportunity to take Bill Gates down. But also at the same time, from a deal-making standpoint, I kind of lean into the fact that Donald was smart enough to... The events that have happened over the past week have not been an accident. Him coming out and saying, hey, I need y'all to release the data on the Operation Warp Speed because I'm hearing that it wasn't as good as people said it was. And you're showing me this good data, but I'm not hearing that as good as you said it was. We know that came from RFK Jr. And so then we have this meeting coming in where all these people come before him and he sits Bill Gates right next to him, who was one of the biggest proponents of it, while simultaneously you have inside the CDC, all of Bill Gates' people being ousted out of the CDC. And so sometimes you got to bring a person close to the sun for them to be burned to death. And if I'm Donald and I know I have constituents who hate you, when I bring you close to me, I'm going to take a little heat. But boy, you going to burn. You're going to burn. And that's what I see happening. Is it a cause for concern? If Donald comes out of this talking the wrong way, yes. As of right now, I see this as being the dethroning of Bill Gates. Now, the rest of the people at the table, Sam Altman, Mark Zuckerberg, I think Mark, me personally, I think Mark has had an epiphany. And we know Mark is over a barrel because of election fraud, like in election rigging, in election interference. I don't see Mark Zuckerberg being as much of a threat. I see people upset about Mark because they know what Mark did. But again, this is where actually using strategy comes in as opposed to using emotions. If I got you over a barrel because I know you interfere with the election, I don't have to throw you in prison, man. I need to use you. So I bring you in as an example and I sit you next to me. You want to be like this jackass right here who played with me? Let me sit him right next to me. You want to be like him? I got him over a barrel. You want to be like Mark? And that's the problem that I see with the current set of pundits that are out there. There's not only zero spiritual information that they use to sift through the news, but then there's zero Machiavellian strategic information that they use to sift through the news. And I'll tell you, just for me personally, if it wasn't for Jesus, with the mind that I have and I would be Satan right now. I would be full on Satan in the mix, sitting at these tables, because it's not hard. There's nothing hard about being Machiavellian. It's actually just human nature, but you need to understand human nature. But also to dissect the news, you need to understand human nature. To dissect everything that's going on, you can't remove human nature.